Russian forces appear to be pulling back from Kyiv and reorganizing for assaults in the eastern breakaway regions. So is this just a strategic move, or could this telegraph Putin's long-term objectives? Let's get that answer this morning with Olivier Knox, the anchor of the Washington Post, the Daily 202, here to explain the latest developments and what we can expect in the days ahead. Olivier, thank you so much for being with us. Let's start with that shift in strategy and talk about the regions as we are seeing, again, that shift in strategy from Russia. What do you make of that?
Right. Well, you remember that Russia had announced that they were making the strategic shift, moving away from Kyiv, which they failed to take, of course, and refocusing on the Donbass, the eastern Ukraine, where there are those two pro-Moscow separatist regions. At first, U.S. officials were saying they were not seeing a significant shift, that this might just be a regrouping or remobilizing for a fresh assault on Kyiv. Now they're confirming that, in fact, they are seeing this shift in strategy. I think it reflects a couple of different things. One of them is that the offensive to take Kyiv stumbled and ultimately failed. And the other, I think, is that Vladimir Putin has always wanted those two regions. Those are one of the main war goals. He wanted to secure Russian control over those areas and then create something of a land bridge from Russia to Crimea, the Ukrainian region that he annexed in 2014. I do think it's fairly significant. For one thing, it's an acknowledgement that Kyiv has not fallen and that the war has not gone the way he planned, Putin planned. But of course, for the Ukrainian forces that now might risk encirclement, it's a very significant development.
Okay, so is that why, may it not have gone the way he planned, is that why we're seeing a shift in a focus now toward Odessa? It's a major port city here. A lot of history, though, also in Odessa.
Yeah, the Russian forces are striking Odessa, very, very important port city, but they haven't yet made any kind of a play to take it. Now, if they did succeed in taking it, which is a whole other conversation, that would be very difficult. But if they do succeed in taking it, then Ukraine becomes essentially a landlocked country. And that would be enormously significant for its economy. It'd be enormously significant for all the countries that depend on Ukrainian wheat to feed their people, a lot of countries in Africa, a lot of countries in Europe. But we haven't yet seen, there hasn't been any sign of an amphibious landing, for example, and the folks in Odessa seem pretty well entrenched and ready to resist.
Olivier, there's also talk that President Volodymyr Zelensky and Putin will have a meeting. How do you see that conversation going, especially now that President Biden, will he be involved? We just heard him say that he's put a call to put Putin on a war crimes trial as there was this discovery of these 400 bodies with their hands tied behind their backs and also gunshot wounds to their heads. How could this obviously put a wedge in this conversation?
Right. It's enormously complicated. And you're right. As Russian forces are pulling out of the areas around Kyiv, Ukrainian forces are going in and they're finding what they say are evidence of atrocities carried out by Putin's forces. Mass graves, civilians killed, people, as you say, with their hands tied behind their back, shot execution style. Now, President Biden has called Putin a war criminal before. Today, he went a step further and said that there will have to be a full investigation followed by a war crimes trial. Now, Zelensky was asked a variation of this question on Sunday on CBS, and he told Margaret Brennan that he thinks of this all on two levels. One, on the personal level, he's deeply repulsed by what he's seeing, horrified, wants Putin to face justice. But as the president of Ukraine, he has no choice but to continue with these negotiations. It's an enormously difficult balancing act, I think, and he was very candid about it yesterday. And he's basically right. I mean, all this language directed at Putin, butcher, killer, war criminal, paranoid, all of that doesn't erase the fact that if for this war to end, there has to be some kind of a negotiated settlement.
Yeah, it has to be talks. All right. Olivier Knox with the Washington Post 202. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We always appreciate your insight and your time and your expert knowledge.